Hello everyone, I'm going to give you a bit of an update on what's been happening with the Mini. So, it's behind me. The last video was just putting the engine back together and putting it back in the car, and you saw me move it and pull it into the garage. So, I got it running, got it driving, smoke was gone, so that was a bit of a result. But then things have gone south a little bit. Also, I'm going to show you a new car that I've bought myself, so stick around. So what happened to the Mini then? So I got it up and running, the engine reassembled. Now, I did something that's probably the wrong thing to do. I bought the cheapest gasket set I could find, just so I could get it reassembled and get it back on the road and prove the smoke thing, because I didn't want to shovel too much money into it. So what you saw in the last video with the engine, I stripped the block down completely, honed all the bores, I fitted new piston rings and a brand new piston to cylinder number 4, and then I reassembled the engine with new gaskets and bits and pieces. So I sent the head away for a skin this time, so that went on fresh. New valve stem seals again, all the new gaskets related to the cylinder head. So that all went on. And then started running and driving, and the smoke cleared up and went all together. So that was good news. I've done a fair bit of running around locally, took it to a local show, and things were looking quite good. And then I had Paul Jeffries come around one day, Classic Mini Garage. He's put a video of us going out for a drive in the car. And then we noticed a bit of oil in the header tank, which at first I thought, maybe it's residue from when the engine was in bits. I spilt some water down a coolant passage, something like that. So anyway, we thoroughly flushed the cooling system through, bled it all up, got the air out, got it all just filled with fresh water. And we went for our drive round. So after it cooled down later on, took the cap off again, there was a bit of oil in there. So that was pretty annoying. So then I went away on holiday for a week, and then came back, started the car up, off I went for a bit of a drive round, and the engine temperature went up and it overheated, squirted a load of oily coolant out the front. So it's not overheated before. I think the head gasket was a very poor quality one. One of the head bolts, I think, bottomed out when I tightened it up because it sheared the head off the bolt on the last tightening stage. So I'm going to buy a decent quality gasket set, decent quality bolts, measure everything, check everything, and do the head gasket this week, because I'd like to take it to MFN next Sunday, the 4th of September. But anyway, that's the Mini. I'll do a video doing the head gasket on it, but I'm going to take you outside and show you the new car I bought myself. I don't know if you can see so much now, but there's a bit of oil residue left there and in there, and the pressure release had come down there, squirted. Can you see it still? No, you can't see it. Squirted on the inside of the bonnet, which caused it to run down that side of the grille, and it quite looked like it had been sick. But then after it had that burp, the temperature stabilised and was happy again. So a bit annoying. There's very little coolant left in there. The header tank started leaking from just here as well, which was annoying, and spewed coolant out. So I'm going to get the front end off and start stripping it down to get the head off very soon. Here it is, 1989 Nissan Micra. It's come as a bit of a project. It's got 46,000 miles on the clock. It's got a lovely brown interior. 2 owners from new. Previous owner had bought it as a project and had started stripping it down and doing bits of paintwork and whatnot. I've patched up the sill down there, as you can see. I've got to finish off this return edge here, and there's a bit inside the arch that needs repairing too. I had to cut it right back to over here because I had to repair a section in the sill as well. And it's got crusty holes here, so I've got to get the glass out. This wing, paintwork on this wing's not in bad shape. When I bought it, the bonnet, there's a lot of rubbish stacked up here. The bonnet, the front end was all not fitted, and that wing was not fitted. None of the interior was fitted. So I've done a little bit of reassembly. Still a fair few of the bits in the boot. Everything nice and new. Got a new set of plug leads. Go on the side. It's got a crusty hole there. So the glass needs to come out so I can repair that section of A-pillar, and then I'll pop the bonnet. There's a couple of other rusty bits here as well. And then on this sill looks crusty under there, and then it's also, I think, here, under here. I don't know if I can show you. I've poked my fingers through the inner sill, but I'm giving it a good clean up. It's all cleaned up nicely under there. It's the power plant. Properly, one-handed. So that's an MA10 engine, small 50 brake horsepower of it. It's a carburetor, automatic choke with electronic distributor, 988cc. About as simple and straightforward as they come. 4-speed manual gearbox. There's some of the more crusty bits that I talked about along there. So got a bit of work to do. It's not the worst. Certainly better than the Mini was when it came. The automatic choke doesn't work very well, but the air filter's missing out of there, so that's not going to help it. Fire it now. Say the automatic choke's not great, but these engines, when you compare, it's a 1989. If you look at what was a Metro or Fiesta at the time, these are aluminium head, aluminium block, overhead cam, producing, well, it's less than 1000cc and it produces 50 horsepower. It's significantly more than the A series was, and the car itself weighs, I think the curb weight is 695 kilos. I think these were a much better little car. The Micra was never going to handle quite like the Metro, because the Metro got the, let me just put this down there, Metro got the same sort of suspension setup as the Mini with the rubber cones, so they were always going to handle a little bit better. But as far as the normal everyday consumer goes, they were a brilliant little car. So I guess the question you're wondering is, what on earth have you bought an old Nissan Micra for? Two reasons. One is they've got some retro cool about them now. And number two, which is the biggest one, I had one almost identical to this as my first car. The one I had was a 1992, but it was a 3-door in white, 1000cc or 988cc, almost exactly the same car, but the interior was grey in mine and not brown. So this one came up Facebook Marketplace at a reasonable price, so I thought I'll go for it and buy it, and I did. It's even got a sunroof. The headlining's all ripped out, which is a shame. So if anybody knows where to get a K10 Micra headlining, I'd love to know. That's the new little Micra, lovely little project car. Like I said, I had one for my first car, always wanted another one. I've got a little bit more patching up to do, and then I'm going to get it MOT'd and on the road before I do anything else with it. But in the meantime, I need to start pulling this apart, which will be in another video very soon, hopefully.